Welcome to the Talking Single podcast, a podcast featuring 4 single successful Black women living in London. Join us each week as we share our stories, experiences, the highs and lows of navigating life, love, and everything in between. And we do all of this with a good dose of humour and a whole lot of style. I am Rasheeda. I'm your host for today. We hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. Hello to any new listeners and welcome back to the regulars. This is my first episode I'd be hosting this season. I'm your favorite ESJF Avenger, single and ready to mingle podcaster Rasheeda. Hello. I will be hosting with my homegirls today, Ribi, Keysha, and Crystal. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. First, I think I'd like to rejoice because finally I think there's light at the end of the lockdown tunnel. Woohoo! So, yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
We hope.
I would have hoped that the whoopies and celebrations would have been louder than that, but I'm very sure that once we're all open, we will, party!
Well, considering that last Christmas we were told we were going to have a Christmas and we didn't have it, I think we're a bit cautious in rejoicing.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're cautiously rejoicing, yeah.
Once bitten, I guess.
I know. I'd like to share a random useless fact of the day for you guys. Are you ready?
Okay.
Go on, we're listening.
Good. I'm happy to announce that it's been 51 weeks and I counted 358 days since I last wore tights. I went to the office.
Wow.
Do you know how long it's been for you?
I wore tights in September. Probably in November too. Yeah.
Why?
I went out.
Felt like
It was
it.
cold. Yeah.
All right. Oh, okay. And I think I've worn makeup. I've done my eyebrows. I think 4 times in the last year. I think birthday, Christmas, 5 times speed dating.
Wow.
1 particular Zoom party. So yeah, maybe 4 or 5 times.
Here's a question.
So
When
save
was
the
the
makeup.
last time you shaved your legs?
Oh, I don't need to shave my legs. My legs are hairless.
I don't shave my legs either, actually.
Oh.
I've always wondered about that. It's such a weird thing.
You guys would have seen the post on Friday.
Sorry.
The Instagram post about compatibility based on your personality types. So I did quite a lot of research into that. Thank you, Ribi, for helping me identify myself as ESJF. And I'm ready to mingle with all the ISFPs in London. So I started Googling, trying to see if Idris Elba is ISFP.
God.
Oh, Lord. Okay, tell us, is he?
No, he's not. I think he's an ESJF just like me.
So it's not going to work.
How do you even get that information?
No. Please allow me live in this fantasy, please.
Oh, God.
It's a pandemic, for God's sake.
It's not going to work. That's why he's not responded to you, because he knows.
Do you have his phone number yet?
No. But
do you know where he lives?
No, but let me tell you. Let's be serious now. I'll tell you the few famous ESJF. So J-Lo is one, which I guess explains why I can sing and dance.
Sorry,
what?
Me up.
Let me rewind. Say that again.
Yeah, J-Lo is one ESJF.
No, you can sing,
which explains why Rasheeda is the resident singer and dancer. No, I will not send
to our listeners. Rasheeda cannot sing to save her
life.
Let me even add, she cannot sing to save any lives. Forget her own. No lives.
I feel the hatred all up in this zone, doesn't I feel very, very attacked. But okay.
Dear.
But she loves to sing and she should continue singing.
Oh.
But when it comes to saving lives, Rasheeda's voice is not going to do it.
No.
I think we should have a karaoke episode then.
Oh my God.
Let the listeners
I don't think we
decide.
want to lose our listeners, so
All
You know,
right.
the funny thing is, I bet you, like, where we post our podcast, they'll just block it. They'll think it's some kind of spam. They'll be like, what? It ain't happening.
There's a lot of hate going on around here today, as in it just makes me, as in, and it's too early to feel such hatred from people that's supposed to be your soul sisters, your supportive network.
So wait, are you saying because you've got a bad voice, we suddenly hate you? No, we still love you, boo.
Yeah, as in, even
We still
if
love you, despite
even
the
if you
bad
thought
voice.
I had a bad voice, I feel like you should say it in a nicer way. But
Okay,
clearly,
sorry,
you guys
my
are
bad. Hold on.
No.
My bad.
Let
Do
me
it properly.
say it in a nice
Do
way.
it properly. Yep, please.
Dearest Rasheeda,
Yes,
we
I
love
love.
you.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yes,
love
I
you.
love you
You're
too. Love you
beautiful,
guys.
kind, and gracious.
Mm-hmm.
But darling,
Mhm.
honey, sweetie, you can't sing. There.
On that note, thank you, listeners, and that's the end of the podcast for today.
Can I say who has got an amazing voice, by the way? Who I was told today, her voice, what word did I use?
Or orchestral.
Orchestral. Her voice was orchestral. Yeah.
Just like my
the
singing.
Wonderful. Please, let's be serious.
Stop stealing my life.
Your singing. The wonderful, the amazing Crystal, who we shall now be calling Crystalite. Right?
Woo!
Woo woo!
Woo! Woo!
Rasheeda is so jealous right now. She's
I
so
know.
green.
I've turned an ugly shade of green. I can't recognize
She's so
myself.
green.
Anyway, moving on right now, since no one will be complimenting me. Anyway, today we'll be talking about a few things. We're going to talk to you about what happened on Tuesday evening, some interracial dating, and for the first time, we'll be visiting something I made up a few days ago called the War Room. What's annoying Rasheeda? Are you guys excited?
Yeah. Let's get started.
All right, let's dive into it. Okay, so what happened on Tuesday evening? I'll tell you anyway to take the suspense away. So on Tuesday, the podcasting ladies, Ribi, we missed you actually. So Crystal, Keysha, and I attended a virtual speed dating event organized by a group called Original Dating Group. Ribi, you missed out actually. It was a first for me actually, so I didn't have any idea what to expect. I think Crystal found the event, Keysha signed us up, and this is my chance to say thank you, because I feel like you are working extra hard to make sure I mingle with single men.
You're welcome.
Your efforts haven't gone unnoticed. You are appreciated. However, in future, yes, exactly. However, in future, I'd like to be signed up for events or invited to events where a certain somebody that will not mention names will be there.
He's married, babe.
I did not mention any names.
But what I was going to say is that actually it's thank you to Suburno.
Yeah.
He's the one who told us about the event. So thank you, Suburno.
Our brown bear.
Yeah. Cool.
Sorry to have missed it. I'd love to say I was doing something that was worthwhile, but I wasn't. So I'm eager to hear how it went for you ladies.
Okay. Cool.
We will spill the tea.
Yeah. So Keysha, I guess like me, it was your first virtual speed dating event. So what was your strategy going into the event? How did that pan out? And I'm interested to know about what you talked with your date about.
Personally, I think this was my first online dating experience.
Excuse you.
Although some people seem to disagree, but this is online dating.
It's not. It's virtual speed dating. Until you swipe left and right, you haven't done online.
It was still online. I was on the internet. This was on the internet. So
moving on.
Okay.
Moving on. My strategy going into this event was that it was a fun. I wanted it to be a fun way to spend an hour. So I approached it as literally that, just a 1 hour fun experience. How did it pan out? It was exciting in the beginning, simply because you're meeting different people. having different conversations with people you've never met before. That's always good. The host settled us in quite well. It got a bit confusing near the end, so I had to grab hold of the old host to, find out what was going on, because the timings were a little, but I guess that's just how it works. The main thing I talked to my dates about, I think with almost every single date, the first thing was, where do you live? What do you do? But then once that gets thrown out of the window, I generally went in with so how are you doing today? How was your day? And then, let the conversation flow from there.
You match with anybody eventually?
I matched with a friend. I matched as a friend with one of them. Yes.
Oh, was it cute?
Cute is very relative. So I don't.
So in Keysha world, was he cute?
He was all right.
Was he your type?
No, that's better. No,
please.
he wasn't.
Her type is strong with broad shoulders.
I was gonna ask that. Does he have broad shoulders? If the answer
Nobody
is no,
had broad shoulders.
Nobody had broad shoulders. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No vulvas. Okay.
No. No strong and dependable.
Yeah. Crystal, how about you? What were your expectations? How did you find the event?
It was okay. I've never done speed dating before, online or offline. What were my I didn't have expectations as such. I thought, okay, at most it will be a fun evening, just chatting to people. A friend of mine had been on one before, and she said there were more men than women, and there were more women than there were men.
Yeah.
And
which was the same for us, wasn't it?
Which was the same for us. And in her case, a lot of women were paired together, and there were times where 3 people were in a room. So she was in a room with a guy and another girl. And the girl was like, and she said the girl was like, sorry, I've been paired with too many women. I'm going to talk to this guy. So the woman was talking to the guy, and they just excluded her. And she said, I just sat there listening to their conversation. I was like, why the hell were you listening to their conversation?
I think that girl already had a wedding in venue booked for whatever year that was.
But that is odd, though. Why would they put women in that position? That's wrong.
I know the event was handled. I said to her, that was handled very badly. But so before the event, I went to check, and I saw that before our one, I went to check and I saw that there were 3 less men. So I was expecting already that there'll be more women than men. So there was that. So there were times when it was 4 minutes, and there were times when you just have to be on your own for 4 minutes. My expectations, I didn't have any. I just wanted to chat. Yes, I chatted with people, but nobody was my match. Nobody was my type. I felt like it was I don't know whether it was an off day or just a wrong day. I felt like all the guys there were very similar in the sense that most of them were socially awkward. And then there was one guy who was a creep who wouldn't put on his camera. And I found that very, very weird.
I remember
and
that
very,
guy.
Very disturbing. That
was so weird.
Yeah.
And rude.
Yeah.
Rude, yeah.
And his conversation was very inappropriate too.
Yes.
And he was laughing like a banshee. Was he laughing when he was talking to you?
Yes.
He was laughing at everything. I was like, I drank tea. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Literally, that is what he was doing. Yeah. And it was really odd. Yeah.
The first sentence he said to me when I matched with him, I was like, turn on your camera. He's like, I'm not turning on my camera. Everybody wants to just see. Everybody's fixated on looks. Everybody's so shallow. And I was just like, oh my God. I have 3 minutes and 50 seconds to deal with this.
But, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was it.
Yeah, it is a bit of a torture if you get a wrong one, or if you get one that doesn't speak, and then you just have to fill the gaps. Yeah. It's a bit odd. And also at the end, I forgot to mention when they make you wait like 24 hours for you to give feedback on the attendees. on the matches. And what they do is there's a yes, there's a no, and there's a friend. But they don't let you leave anything blank. And I don't know if this is an online or virtual dating thing where you have to say no to someone. And I didn't get that. Like, why can't I just be a yes or maybe and leave it blank? That no.
Yeah, but that's ghosting though. Virtual.
Yeah, but no, it seems very strong to me. Like,
but
like
no is an answer.
Someone.
I think saying no is better than saying nothing.
Okay, I guess.
I would agree with that. I
found it just negative. I just found it's like you're like canceling somebody you don't even know. I would have preferred...
you're building the person's resilience to rejection.
But by the way, you don't know the person. You've got 5 minutes to make a judgment call. So I think it's fair that you should make a call. Trust your instinct and say yes or no. What is the point of a maybe? How does that move things forward?
Or even just I would have put no to that guy that was just, behaving weirdly and then been given the option to put a comment as to why. It was just, I don't know. I guess it was just, I've not done these kind of things before, so I found it a bit
No is no. There's no need to tell story. Is no. Finish.
All right. Noted.
Noted, yeah. So for me, as I said, I had never done this before. I was a bit nervous. I was like, okay, what if... I don't even know what I was thinking, but as soon as we joined the first big call, the first big Zoom call, I just saw the people and I was just like, yep, it's all right. I just chatted and I even mentioned the podcast to someone, but I didn't tell the person the name of the podcast. I was like, oh yeah, in my spare time, I do a podcast with my friends. And he was like, okay. And I was expecting him to say, oh, what's the name of the podcast? What do you guys talk about? And he was just like, okay. I'm like, anyway. So would you guys do this again?
I'll do it again, maybe, but maybe another day, maybe a Saturday. Maybe there'll be more interesting people. I don't know. It wasn't.
I'd do it again. It's an hour or hour and a half of chat. I don't know. It's like going to a bar without the drinks and the music. It would have. I'd prefer it, because the thing is, if you go to a bar, you wouldn't speak to that many people.
Yeah, true.
For that reason and that reason alone, I'd definitely do it again.
Yeah. Ribi, let me bring you in very quickly. Have you ever done speed dating, face-to-face speed dating?
No. There was one that I did on the dating app that I'm on, which is they do this thing every so often where it is a virtual speed dating, but you're chatting. So you're not talking to the person, you're just chatting. You don't know who the person is. So you join, they match you up with somebody who or is already on the app, has got a profile, but they just match you up and then you have a few minutes just to chat. If you like each other, then you get to see each other's profiles and then you can take the conversation forward if you want. I've done that a couple of times and that's pretty cool.
That been?
I matched with a couple of people.
Any hot lads?
No. Nice people, but no, it didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I didn't even ask. Sorry?
Sounds interesting though.
It's interesting because the thing about the app is that because it knows your profile and it knows the profile of everybody else, it tries to match you with somebody that would fit your profile. So you will have a lot of things in common. But again, it just all depends. Just another way to meet people.
Oh, cool.
By the way, Rasheeda, did you match with anybody?
Yes, match with Idris. Okay, no.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, no. So I said no to everybody because I didn't even want to be friends because I was just like, I have enough friends. So I said no to everybody, but I got a text or an email saying one person said yes to me, but I just didn't bother trying to figure out who or why. I just said no.
Hopefully it wasn't the weirdo, the creep.
Oh, I'll tell you what I did. I wrote a review actually
about
it, and I commented. I was like, the person made the event so terrible and uncomfortable. He was rude and condescending. So I hope that's taken on board.
I did as well. I said I personally felt like he was a creep and people shouldn't be allowed to switch off their camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
I just said he was inappropriate. Yeah, and that was it.
I look forward to the next one. I wonder whether if it was done on a weekend, it would be different.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. So maybe try a weekend one.
Yeah, maybe we should try another weekend one. We'll weekend one sometime soon. Anyway, so this speed dating event kind of got me to thinking, because obviously when we got there were very diverse men and women on the event. It just got me thinking about those people that have certain preferences when it comes to dating. As I've said, as in the mainstream dating apps and events, all different people on these events and apps. I'm sure, I think there must be events and apps for people that have preferences. They want to date within a certain race or religious group. I'm happy and I'm thankful that we have a diverse set of options, because it just shows how far the world has come. For instance, I don't know if you guys are aware, but due to Rasheeda's amazing research, it was just one Google search actually. South Africa up until 1985 had a law which prevented Europeans from marrying non-Europeans, which meant white people could not marry people from other races. But I thank God, I think in 1985, which is less like 36 years ago, was repealed and everybody is free to marry everyone. So, ladies, as Black women, I'd like to kind of do a quick chit chat about your thoughts on dating and marrying outside your ethnic group. So I'm going to throw the question out to you guys. And I'll throw the question out. Is it fact or fiction? Why do we, like Black people, have the perception that more Black men marry outside their race than Black women? Why do you think this is the case? Or I will ask Crystal.
I'm gonna take.
Did I put you on the spot? Sorry if I put you on the spot.
No, you didn't. I was thinking. I'm gonna take a Nigerian point of view on this and say that there was a time. There was a time where, and I don't know if this is misogyny or whatever, where if a Black woman dated a white man, she was seen as a prostitute. Like, really? Oh, yes. And there were a lot of white men who would get Black women pregnant and leave. Not just in Nigeria, but in some African countries where white men were known to go there, have affairs with Black women and leave. So there would be single Black women with mixed race children and people would see them as prostitutes. I do not know that it's a fact that more Black men marry outside of their race. I don't know if it's a fact, but there was a time when less Black women were seen with white men, but that seems to have changed a little bit more now. But I don't know. I mean, we live in the UK and I've seen a rise in more Black women dating white men, where before there were more Black men, but I don't know if this is a fact or fiction. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's no data. So someone else.
I don't know if it's facts or fiction, but my perception is I think Black men are more likely to marry outside their race than Black women.
Why do you think so?
I think that's literally more colored by what I've seen on TV and in the media rather than what I've seen out in the streets. I really don't have any other data, and it's not something I've ever looked into, but it just feels that way, that Black women marry white women or outside their race or are more likely. And I think it might just be simply because in sort of Black culture, the men have more freedom to choose without judgment than a Black woman. A Black woman would be more judged for dating outside her race than a Black man, and that just gives them that freedom. That's my take on it.
Yeah. I think I agree with what Crystal said. I mean, I don't know whether there is no data, or I haven't seen any data that says more Black men marry outside their race than Black women. Anecdotally, I think it is the case, just because similar to what Keysha said, it's what you see around you in the media. The friends that I know that are in interracial relationships, they tend to be more of Black men, white women than vice versa. So why it is, I think it's for a number of reasons. I think once upon a time, white women were seen as the epitome of beauty or achievement. Once upon a time. And so to have a white woman in your arm probably signaled that you had made it, I guess. Black women were not seen to be beautiful. They were seen to be, so if you were a white man with a Black woman, she was obviously with you for your money. So it was this kind of horrible perception. And that kind of put off a lot of Black women, because you don't want to be seen as somebody's exotic fantasy, or you don't want to be seen as this kind of, I'm there with him because of money and all of that stuff. But I do think all of that is changing, right? I think it's changing.
Yeah. But it's even problematic even with Black men as well, because in prepping for this podcast or just listening to other podcasts, and there was something I listened to on another podcast, and they were talking about some American rappers, two in particular that I will not name. They actually made public comments about dating only non-Black or exotic women, as they say, because Black women are angry Black women, they're troublesome and problematic women and stuff. And I was just like, how heartbreaking for Black women around the world, where their own Black men are even bashing them in public, as in how?
Yeah, I mean, I can take I say I can take, but when other races, like say Black women are ugly, Black women are troublesome, Black women are bullies, etc., you can almost say, well, you don't understand me. But when a Black man says that, it's like, you've got a mother, you've got sisters. Is that how you see your sisters? And it's just really, really hard and, disheartening to hear that from a Black man.
Yeah, so the other thing is, obviously, I feel like people might be hesitant to say, well, I don't know, actually. Do you think people can or should be hesitant to say, well, I'm a Black woman, I'll only date a Black man? Is that racist, or is that, what do you think?
I don't think it's racist, and I don't think you should be hesitant to say that. It's your preference, because there are people who will say, for example, let's flip it the other way. If a Black man or a woman says, my preference is dating a white person, I'm fine with that, but don't go bashing your own people just because you're dating a white person. And if you only date Black people, that's fine, but don't go bashing the other just because you only date Black people. It's a preference. It's fine. You can date whoever you want. That's your choice, but don't feel that you need to justify it. That's my thoughts.
Completely agree.
Fair enough, yeah.
100% completely agree.
Crystal is on a roll today. She's just bashing out the gems.
Crystallize.
Get it right. Crystallize.
It's throwing out the gems. Yeah. So why do you think some people, okay, well, my thoughts are, from my personal view, I feel like some people would only choose to date or marry within their race because it just seems like an easier option. But is it really an easier option? Keysha, what do you think?
I don't think it's necessarily easier. I'd say it's more familiar, especially if you have a very specific type of culture, maybe a language or something. I think that's the main barrier: culture, language, familiarity in terms of customs and things like that. But if you find someone you can cross those boundaries with, then it no longer becomes a problem, really. So, yeah.
I get that is familiarity, but sometimes you just want an easy life, right? Because even people that you were born in the same country, have the same friends, same life, same everything, you have like massive issues. Whereas you then meet somebody who's from a completely different culture. Sometimes it just feels like you're introducing something big. And I'll give an example with a couple I know. The boy The guy is Nigerian, the girl is white English, and they were going to get married. And one of the issues they had during the wedding was, with Nigerian aunties, everybody was auntie this, auntie that. But the girl was like, well, she's not my auntie, so I'm not going to call her auntie. And it became a big thing because for him, he's like, these are my parents' friends. I'm not going to call them by their first names. It's not a done thing. But for her, from her culture, everybody's on a first name basis. And yes, eventually there was some sort of middle ground. I don't know how, but those are things that if she had dated an Englishman, it would be a no-brainer because their mom's friends would be Jeff and Lisa, whereas with Nigerian people will be Auntie Lola and Uncle Ade kind of thing. So it kind of makes me just think, well, maybe that's why people want to date within their own race and religion and all of those things. Crystal, drop some gems.
No, I think one of the biggest, and I think maybe BLM even brought that more to our attention. One of the biggest reasons people want to date within their race is because only a Black person can understand the struggle of another Black person. A white person can say, yeah, I understand, but you have not experienced that struggle. You have not been through it. You do not live in this skin. You do not know what it's like. But when you date or when you're with Black people, they understand. You don't have to say too much. Sometimes it's a look I can give you and you're like, I know it. And I think that's the biggest reason for a lot of people. But then there are the little things. For example, I don't need to explain to a Black person why I wear a scarf to bed. I don't need to explain why sometimes my hair is long. Sometimes why my hair is long. Sometimes why it's short. Sometimes why it's in braids. I don't need to explain those things. So those are the easier bits. But definitely the whole race thing. If you're going to date someone as a Black person, if I'm going to date someone outside of my race, they need to get the struggle and they need to understand my pain.
Do you think they can fully sympathize, i.e., if they're dating you and you try to educate them, they try to educate themselves? Do you think there's a point where they get the struggles as much as possible, or do you think they just cannot live our lives?
They obviously cannot live our lives, but they can understand the struggle. And even in this Black Lives Matter thing, we have our allies, and your partner, if they're white, I think they should be an ally and they need to understand your feelings. And they, when you say something like that, I felt a certain way about what this person said, they need to be on your side and not try to rationalize it and not try to gaslight you, because that's a big thing, especially in this country, the whole gaslighting thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can. I do believe, to answer your question, I do believe that they can. Yes.
Okay. Ribi, I haven't heard much from you. Let's hear you. And Luna.
Luna is attacking the door at the moment, so no, I was thinking what Crystal said. I completely agree. I always say I'm an equal opportunities dater. So really the race thing is kind of neither here nor there. But there's some fundamental things. They have to understand that they can never get what it means to be a Black woman when you are, and all the things that you have to go through. So there has to be a level of, they can never empathize, because empathy is about being in the other person's shoes, but they should be able to sympathize. They should be able to ask questions and not assume that they have an answer or that they can relate from their own experiences. There's nothing as patronizing as that. So that's kind of where my head is at. So yeah, and to what you had said earlier on about, is there anything wrong in saying, why do I think people choose to date within their race? Is it easier or not? Again, I think race is just one dimension. I think entering a relationship with somebody is always going to be complicated, and you look for areas that you complement each other and you compromise on the areas that you don't. I do think, yes, language does make it easier. Understanding culture does make it easier. But please, which one of us has not dated a Yoruba Niger guy.
You're a bad demon.
And honestly, you speak the same language, you come from the same place, you listen to the same music, but you're like, this guy is from another fucking planet. Excuse my French. So, do you know what? It's really not about that.
And I guess, I mean, so let me throw it out to you guys. Have you guys ever dated outside your race? And what kind of what kind of challenges did you have to navigate that you wouldn't necessarily have navigated with a Black man?
I've never dated outside my race.
Oh, okay.
But I don't object to doing so. So, as I said, I think, and I think Ribi put it quite well. If you can find somebody that sympathizes, not necessarily tries to empathizes, because they've not walked in your shoes. It's that understanding, and I've said this before, I can definitely date an ally, for sure.
Cool, yeah. So I've dated someone who was half Nigerian, half European, and it was nice. He was a nice guy. He was cute, like very cute, and I think that's what scrambles my brain. However, there were a few for me, what was surprising was, I guess it's not a general thing. It was a thing with him. He wanted to be white, not Black, with that. And every time we're walking down the street and we walk past a Black woman, he'd be like, oh, did you see that Black girl giving you evil? She thinks you're dating a white guy. You're a sellout. And I mean, for the first time he said it, it just made me laugh because I was just like, ha ha ha, not even looking at any other Black girl. I was mesmerized by his cute face. But he just kept on saying it, and I realized it was something for him. I don't know what it was exactly. I mean, and among other things, kind of went to pieces after that. Because he also said stuff like, well, I don't eat Nigerian food. I don't like Nigerian food. Nigerian food is very smelly. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You grew up in Nigeria, for God's sake. He's like, well, yeah, I'm now a white guy. I look like a white guy. And I was just like, okay, this is just problematic as hell. Goodbye. And
it sounds like he was having a crisis of identity.
I think so. But he was cute, though.
You and your cute.
I know. Cute. So I think my problem is cute and funny is such a terrible combination for me. So even if the guy is was not is anymore. If the guy is cute and funny and he's just a terrible person, my brain just deserts me and common sense. But as a grown, mature ESJF Avenger,
okay,
I'm more aware of myself.
I love it.
And my flaws, so I'm working on that.
Until another cute and funny guy gets dangled in her face, and then all
that looks like Idris Elba. Then that's
that looks like Idris Elba.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is about Idris Elba that I find very attractive.
Should we do a podcast about Rasheeda and Idris, and then we can understand the whole story from beginning to end?
I can't explain it. And I don't. Okay, so in my defense, I don't even think it's Idris. Actually, it's this color, that chocolate, that brown thing. Any guy that color. Anyway,
they can get
it. Crystal, please, have you ever dated outside your race? Let me bring us back on to.
I know, because I was already going on an Idris tangent. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I have briefly dated outside my race. He was American, but he had dated Black women before. So he knew all about the hair and shrinkage and afros and braids and all of that shebang.
So someone had trained him before you got here.
Yeah, he knew all about that. And the only thing was he didn't get the whole taking care of your family thing, like sending money home. He was like, but why? Why do you have to send money back home? But yeah, it wasn't brief, but he lived in another country, so that was problematic. But yeah, I have to say that there were certain things that he didn't get, apart from the one I mentioned. And I don't know if if we had been in a relationship further down the line, if that would have been a problem. But yeah, we're not together. We're friends though.
Ribi?
Well, I have, and I still do. Any issues that have to do with race? I'm trying to think of any. I think goes. So I don't think I ever had an experience where there were challenges with understanding or accepting of the race. For me of him and him of me, we did, that was not our issue for sure.
And well, it's fair to assume that we're all open to dating. We're equal opportunity daters, though.
Yeah, we are.
Which I think is a really, really good thing. It's a really good thing. It's not necessarily an easier option. Well, sometimes it feels like it's an easier option, but it's not necessarily easier because we've all dated Yoruba demons and we just realized, you know what, I'd rather date a Tibetan guy that speaks no word of English that treats me nicely than this Yoruba guy that we're from the same part of Nigeria and stuff. So
I think that's really the point, right? Ultimately, it is about the personality,
exactly,
and less about the race.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
But we have to admit that there are certain things that, especially with race or your ethnicity, and sometimes even religion, that is just easier. And I'll give examples, slightly deviating. It's like, so with stuff like Africans, for instance, by default, all the boys are circumcised for whether it's a religious or a cultural thing, but Europeans aren't. And if you're dating or you marry a European man, you'd have to have the conversation on whether your son
Not all of them are not circumcised.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about the ones that are or aren't. But I guess it's or maybe an Englishman, for instance. My perception is most of them aren't circumcised. Then you have the conversation, and yes, you would have to compromise on certain things. And sometimes it just feels like, well, if you compromise enough, you might just lose your blackness. Well, I guess, thank you guys. I guess that's all I've got to say about interracial dating, where we are open. Well, I'm single, ready to mingle with all the ISFPs in London. Woo, woo, woo. So come line in or slide into my DM. Okay, maybe not actually, but on that note, I'm going to move on to that new segment I call the War Room. And do I hear you guys saying, Rasheeda, what is the War Room? Can somebody ask me that?
Rasheeda, what is the War Room?
Oh, thank you, Ribi. Thank you for asking that. The War Room is something that I came up with yesterday because I'd had a long week of work and I was just annoyed. So I came up with something called What's Annoying Rasheeda Room. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's
annoying you, Rasheeda?
Let me take a sip of, oh crap, my tea is finished actually. So what was annoying me yesterday, today, and the whole week is Meghan Markle and everything about her in the media. I'm not angry at Meghan Markle, no. I'm angry at the coverage, the news stories, the headlines, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everybody's just fed up. Let her and Harry, these are my thoughts. Let her and Harry just live their lives. I know there's an interview with Oprah Winfrey coming up sometime in the next few days. I'm looking forward to that and allow them speak their truth in their own way. And as you realize, there'll be so many ridiculous headlines about her. And I guess it's not a problem with Meghan Markle only. It's with these gossip or this tabloid newspapers and stuff and their coverage for anything sensational. The most ridiculous headline I saw was her baby bump was too prominent. It doesn't look like a 6-month pregnancy bump. And I'm like, who decides that? Am I alone being angry at this, or
No, I'm angry. I had a rant on my WhatsApp story.
Okay, cool. Because when you guys were quiet, I was like, oh God, Rasheeda is alone in this war room.
We're just letting you go,
Oh, you're allowing me rant. Oh, right.
So the thing is, it's touched me sort of since the latter part of last week. The double standards, and there've been a good interview on Sky News about it with some prominent Black.
Women. I'll come to that.
And it really put things on the line, and it's I guess to me it makes me a bit weary, because I'm just like, this is so obvious to me. And this is so historic. I'm like, what is even going to be done? To me, it's just something that nothing's going to be done about it. Like, she's won a victory, but to me, the victory wasn't big enough. I really think that the people perpetuating this need to be brought to account, and I think they're just going to get away with it.
Yeah. Do you think we should also, as citizens of the world, also make it a point of duty not to read these terrible news sources? Personally, I don't read Daily Mail or The Sun or any of those magazines or news.
I stopped a long time ago. It's not even a thing. I stopped a long time ago.
I stopped when a particular one went down the route of trying to find Meghan Markle's slavery ancestry, and I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And this was before she even married him, and I stopped reading that newspaper. And when people send me links to that newspaper, I'm like, you need to stop sending me links to this newspaper.
I mean, I might be wrong, but I just feel like because she's not English and because she is of mixed heritage, I feel like that's why they're extra hard on her. I might be wrong. I might be controversial for saying that, but that's how I feel.
That's how I feel as well. And the whole bullying thing, to me, and some other people have said exactly what I was thinking, just comes down to the angry Black woman narrative. And hell no, are we going to accept that? Black women are always angry and blah, blah, blah. No. Do not try that. I hate that, and no, unacceptable.
Yeah. And I like, as Keysha said, as in lots of strong, famous Black women have united for Meghan. I've created a hashtag BWUFM. Gosh, that's a mouthful. I need to come up with something better. But it's Black women unite for Meghan. So we had Jamila Jamil, Kelechi. Why did I say Kelechi? Her name is Kelechi. Pronounce her name properly, actually. So we had Jamila Jamil, Kelechi with the Say Your Mind podcast, Shola Moshobamimo, the lawyer and activist, and Gina Yasire. Oh no. Oh crap. Okay, so let me wrap this up. I'm happy that these strong Black women have united and they're speaking in her favor. And I, as a Black woman, I feel like I'd lend my voice to that and just keep supporting her. So we're down.
Can I just say one thing? Like, if you haven't watched that interview with Kelechi, Shola, and Gina, you need to go and watch it. I've watched it like 6 times.
Yeah.
So, I have a comment on Rapid Fire, actually. Okay. So this week, I put in a poll on our Instagram to ask people what they would name our Rapid Fire, because it's never rapid. And
I wonder why.
we got a few responses. Victims of our Rapid Fire. So the diasporadicals have been victims of our Rapid Fire. They were on an episode in season 2, I think, and they said we should name it Spit Roast.
Okay. Interesting.
And then Laura, the tartan matchmaker, match made in Scotland, who was a guest, said we should name it Embers Dying a Slow and Painful Death Round.
Okay. You two, a certain person always talking.
That's a mouthful, but yeah.
That's a mouthful, but yes. And then we have Slow Burns from Searching Paranormal Podcast, We have Slow Burn Hour. We have Slow Poke. And I think that
Slow
was
poke.
Slow Poke.
So I'm getting a trend here. They seem to think it's like all slow and stuff.
It's very
we need
slow.
to address the offending podcaster that makes this.
So
Rapid fire. Let me just remind everyone.
we need to give it a new name. If it's not going to be rapid, maybe
Okay, no,
we need
today
to give it a new name.
Today is going to be rapid fire.
Okay.
And it follows on from What's Annoying Rasheeda. So very quickly, in the order of Ribi, Crystal, and Keysha, can you give me the biggest punishment for Meghan Markle haters? I'll go first, actually. So for me, it's having to face YouTube videos with 20 unskippable ads and forever buffering.
Who's next? Sorry, I missed that.
Ribi's next.
Okay, so sorry, this is not going to be rapid fire, but I just wanted to say I'm just tired of the whole Meghan Markle discussion. I just want us to leave these people alone. So I'm not really a big fan of the whole. I really feel there's been enough negative press, and I think there's been enough press, full stop. So I'm just not in that space at all. But to answer the rapid fire question, the punishment should be, they just need to live the life of a dark-skinned Black woman in America for one day.
One day.
Love it.
That's
it. Ooh,
Good.
Ribi. Woo. Woo.
Good.
That's it.
In fact, I like Ribi so much that I'm going to step it up a level.
No. You have to make this rapid fire because you guys keep saying
No,
Rasheeda.
you're not letting me speak. Let me speak.
Okay.
I want their punishment to be that they be transported back to West Africa, to that border on the coast, and be pushed through those narrow little walkways that slaves had to be pushed through before they were shipped out.
God,
I think
guys
that's
are
enough.
dark.
Wow.
That's enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I'm gonna go with the royal off with their heads.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That's all. That was very
That's
rapid.
all she wrote.
Very Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, off with their heads.
Alrighty. And it's a wrap?
Yep,
It's a
a wrap. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, fellow Talking Single ladies. It was really nice talking to you today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you to our listeners. Don't forget to like and subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Thank you, and that's all for today. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Single podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. We'd love to hear from you, and you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the handle @Talking Single Podcast. You can also send us comments or questions with the hashtag Talking Single Podcast. We are downloadable on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review, and of course share with your family and friends. Take care. See you next week. Same time, same place.